Well, hello, welcome everybody. So, as Michael says, my name's Christine. I'm currently working with QPS, but I thought I'll go over a little bit of how I got there. So, a bit of my background: I was in the Navy for 6 years prior to starting my studies. So, I was a linguist in the Navy. But also, I really wanted to get into intelligence when I left. So, I left the Navy to start a family, and then once the kids got a little bit older, I wanted to do something else with my life. So I thought I'd start studying, and I had tried a couple of different degrees, education and linguistics, and a few different degrees, but the criminology degree at Griffith really caught my eye because there was so much variety in the courses that you can choose. So I decided to come through Griffith, and I studied all of my courses except for the professional placement online. So I'm probably a little bit different to some of the other speakers here tonight. So online studying, I had tried that previously through a different university, and it was quite difficult, but through Griffith they had a lot of facilities for online learning, and I was also able to come into the campus and undertake a lot of different volunteering and mentoring roles. So I did the developing professionally and professional placement courses in my final years, and I was lucky enough to get my placement with the G20 external engagement team. So they looked after engaging with community groups, motivate, protest groups, businesses around Brisbane, and getting the message out there about the legislation around G20. And that was a really good practice, I guess, for getting into the professional research role that I'm in now. So part of the professional placement was to do a project. So I did a research project for the QPS on their engagement strategies compared to what they were doing overseas. And then from there I got into volunteer and policing. So the supervisor I had for my placement actually looks after volunteers in policing, and he was able to recruit me into that. So I worked at the Police Museum for a year doing various projects for them. And then I started applying for jobs when I was still in my second year. It took me 12 months before I got paid employment. So in that time I did a lot of volunteering, so the working with the Police Museum, and also doing a few different volunteering around the school. So I'll show you some of the activities I got into while I was at uni. Really helped me, I guess, network, which is a really big thing, and Griffith is very into getting people to network, meeting people within industry and getting your name out there. So the way I was able to do that, so I took part in the peer mentoring program which Griffith offers. So once you're in second year you can become a peer mentor, and that's really mentoring first year students through the first semester. And I also volunteered at various conferences that Griffith was sponsoring. I did note taking for disability services, so listened to the lectures and took comprehensive notes for hearing impaired students. Also did the industry mentor program. Once I actually was employed, I was able to be an industry mentor for Griffith students, and so I've had one student through that process so far, and luckily she's now working for QPS in a paid position as well. So for those current students, once you are out in the workforce, I would highly recommend that. It's very useful. And for students that are still studying, that's a really good way to network and get to know people in the industry that you're interested in. So I would recommend getting onto that placement. Okay, so that was just a bit about my professional placement and what it involved. So doing the research, like the comparative analysis, that gave me really good skills and experience for getting into a research role. So when I got a position within QPS, I started in a general, like just a very, very low level, entry level. I was there for about a month before I started acting up in a research position. So having that practical experience really helped. So I know that the professional placements are compulsory now, which is great. So when you do get to that stage, just have a real hard think about what kind of things you want to do, where you want to be, and then your lecturer will, as much as possible, get you into that area to do your placement. And then just network, get your name out there and work hard, and people will remember you. Okay, so I not only did my undergrad, I also did my master's through Griffith, so I graduated this year in July. I did my master's topic on the forced retirement of QPS police officers. So this was really good because it gave me an opportunity to speak to people that have already retired and get their ideas about how the future should look for QPS. And it also got me noticed by a lot of the senior executive within QPS, and that's also helped me with my networking skills, with getting a lot of really good research projects and the assistance of the executive in doing those research projects. Oops, I keep pressing the wrong button. So that's a little bit of my work history. So as I said, I started off as a client service officer, so it's very entry level. Became a training officer, then I did statistics and administration and research officer, all within a very short space of time, and now I'm a senior research officer within the domestic family violence unit, and I also am the engagement officer for high risk teams. So I'm happy to talk about that when we're all done in this room. And that's my contact details if you'd like to write it down. That's about it.